Today I'll mostly be talking about the All-Ireland final against Kerry and Cavan. They both went over to New York to play this match. Cavan credited most of their win to going on a plane and Kerry went on a boat. So here was Cavan on the plane and here's Kerry on the boat. And there was the captain of the team was PJ Duncan.
PJ
Duke. And he died at 32, I think.
PJ Duke died at 25.
25.
Yeah, and then John Joe, I think you're thinking of John Joe.
Yeah.
John Joe O'Reilly. Yeah, he died at 32. He lifted the cup.
Yeah. And that Cavan, the score was 1-11 to 1-7 to Cavan, and they came back home with the cup, and that was the only ever All-Ireland to be won outside of Ireland in New York. And how many people was there? It was 36,000 roughly. And so then all the fans were very excited. Kerry fans went home upset, Cavan fans went home excited.
And it's a long way to go home.
Yeah, 9 hours. 9 hours, 55 minutes.
Can you remember how it was played there?
It was played there to mark the Great Famine, because that was 100 years before this final. And a lot of people emigrated to America. So they were like, okay, we'll go over there and play it there, because there was a lot of people that emigrated there. So they wanted to remember all the people that moved there. Castleratton is our local club here. They wear the colours maroon and white. They've won the Cavan Championship twice, in 2018 and 2019. And I play for Cruinniu, so we've won the championship 11 times, and they're better, so come and play with Cruinniu. My name is Sean McCabe. I'm in 4th class. I'm 10 years old, and I love this museum.
And what do you like about history?
I like a lot of the football history because it's entertaining.
And do you like anything else in the museum apart from the GAA?
I probably like the farming a good bit too.
And do you farm?
Yes.
Very good.
Yeah.
And what do you like in school? What's your favourite thing in history that you learned?
Probably the Stone Age.
What do you like about that?
I like the way that they had to make all their tools out of stone, and that every time they broke they'd have to make a new one, and they never gave up on doing it.
And how do you think that would be different from today? Would it
Like,
be faster, slower?
slower and more difficult because of they had to use stone to make stone tools, and that to make the stone tool would probably break a lot. And then these days you just get a machine to make it, and that's pretty easy, so probably a good bit easier these days than back then, because of the machines now.
And what do you think about doing when you finish school? Would you like to be a historian?
Maybe, yeah.
Or a footballer?
Yeah.
Do you want to play county?
Yeah.
Very good. Thanks, Finn.
World War I began on the 28th of July 1914 and ended on the 11th of November 1918. 8 million soldiers died and 7 million civilians died. World War I was the first. World War I saw the first use of chemical warfare, and there's a gas mask there beside me they would use. And the First World War was largely fought in what is known as the trench warfare. no man's land is a term coined for the space of land between the trenches of the opposite sides. On the 18th of June 1914, Archduke Franz was assassinated. He was shot by a Serbian man who believed Serbia should be controlled over Bosnia and not Austria, and resulted in Austria declaring war on Serbia. There were two opposing sides in World War I. There was the Central Powers and the Allies. The Central Powers consisted of Austria, Germany and Turkey, and the Allies consisted of Britain, France, Belgium, Russia and America. Despite Russia leaving the war, making Germany's opposing side stronger during the First World War, it was Germany that was defeated by the end of 1918. On the 11th of November 1918, Germany signed an armistice which ended all fighting on the Western Front, known as Armistice Day. Armistice Day. People in Britain, France, America celebrate the end of the war by hosting street parties and other celebrations. Germany was also required to pay 123 billion marks, their previous currency, which bankrupted the country and caused the Great Recession. According to the Treaty of Versailles, there was to pay for, and this was to pay for the cost of the war and its damages. My name's Skylar, I'm 12 and I'm in 6th class.
Very good. And what do you like about history?
I like learning about wars and like what was happened in like history and stuff.
Mm-hmm. And do you prefer looking at wars that were in modern times like World War I, or do you like learning about ancient Rome?
Ancient Rome and like modern, both really.
So you like the two?
Yeah.
Very good. And what's the most interesting thing about learning history as opposed to any other subject?
Well, you get to learn how people lived in the past and about like how people different it was from now and stuff.
And apart from learning wars, is there any other part of history you like?
I like like the Stone Age and like the Bronze Age and stuff. I like that as well.
And why do you like those?
It's just, I'm not really sure, I just like learning about it.
Very good. And then, I forgot my last question. What was the last question I was going to ask? Well, yeah, so do you think you'd like to be a historian when you get older, or?
I don't really think I'd like to be a historian, I just like learning about it.
Okay, and what do you like most about the museum?
I like the World War I room and like how the trenches are at the back. I like the trenches as well.
Very good, thank you.
Yeah.
Farming began during the Neolithic era from around 4000 BC until 2500 BC. Inhabitants of the island began to farm animals and started farming grains. Principal crops grown during the Neolithic era included barley and wheat. The era saw the introduction of cattle and sheep as domesticated animals into Ireland and saw the start of dairy production in Ireland. In the years following the Acts of Union 1800, the majority of the Irish rural workers participated in agriculture. Most rural workers didn't make enough wages, so also had to farm a small plot of land to feed themselves. Irishmen originally rented this land from landowners in exchange for their labour, rather than paying for rent with money. Famine times from 1840 to 1845, the labour force involved in agriculture was 1.6 million people. The Great Famine caused the death of an estimate 1 million people. In 1845, potatoes announced for a little under a third of tillage increase in Ireland. With it began the food source that 3 million people were exclusively depended on. After the famine, throughout the 20th century, agriculture land in Ireland increasingly moved away from use as growing crops and increasingly towards use as grazing pastures. Types of farming in Ireland: dairy farming, producing milk for dairy products, butter, cheese, cream, ice cream, milk, yogurts. Tillage, growing crops, beef, producing meat. Agriculture today, as of 2018, the Central Intelligence Agency estimates that 66.1% of Ireland's land is used for 15.4% of its land is crops. The major agricultural products of Ireland, including milk, barley, beef, wheat, potatoes, pork, oats, poultry, mushrooms, dolphins, and muttons.
What's your name?
Oisín,
And what age are you?
9,
And what class are you in?
3rd.
And are you liking doing the takeover day?
Yeah.
What do you think is the best thing about it?
Missing school.
And what about history?
Farming.
So you like the history of farming?
Yeah.
What did you learn anything really interesting when you were researching?
Farming was invented in 4000 BC until 2500 BC.
And did that surprise you?
Yeah, very.
So 5,000 years ago, people were farming. And anything else? Any other kind of interesting things you learned?
There's 3 different ways of farming: dairy, tillage, and beef.
And you don't live in a farm?
No.
And why are you interested in farming then?
Just decided to do it.
You just decided to do it. And it's good because you get to learn something completely new.
Yeah.
So you learned stuff you didn't know about before. And what else do you like in history?
Like learning about places.
What did you learn about recently? Can you remember any places?
Denmark.
What did you learn about Denmark?
That there's not really that much cars. There's normally bikes, that you travel on bikes, and Copenhagen is the capital city.
Right. And what about the museum? Did you like visiting the museum? What's your favourite things, apart from farming now, what's your favourite things in the museum, can you remember?
Probably the Gaelic. And I like the World War One.
What do you find interesting about the World War One?
The masks and stuff. The clothes.
Do you think it would have been a scary time?
Yeah.
What do you think, if you were your age during World War One, do you think life would be different?
Very different.
How would it be different, do you think?
You can't sleep, or there'll be shots every few minutes. so
It'd be a bit scary, wouldn't
yeah,
it?
very scary.
And what do you want to do when you're older? Do you want to be a farmer or be a historian?
I would be a farmer.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. And after learning all the different types of farming, what type of farming do you think you'd like?
Dairy.
Dairy. You like the animals?
Yeah.
Yeah. And you'd still get to drive a tractor even though you're dairy. Very good. Thanks, Oisin.
Yeah.
The Cavan and Leitrim Railway was one of the most fascinating and at one time the busiest of Ireland's narrow gauge railways. It was used to transport goods such as coal and iron to places such as Arginia and Loch Allen. In 1887, it started to transport people from the section of Belturbet, County Cavan, to Drummond in County Leitrim. On opening, the line had a fleet of 8 steam locomotives, the type of a tramway type locomotive for the Umpen track. Each cab was fitted with a duplicated driving controls. They had no names for the trains, so the directors named them after their daughters. And in 1959, the railway closed down for good. And then in 2019, the railway was opened as a museum in Drummond. And you're able to step back into time and experience the age of transport in rural Ireland on board Nancy. My name is Axel Hughes and I'm 10 years old and I'm in 4th class.
Okay. And what interests you about the railway?
Because I like transport.
And do you read up a lot about it, or
Yes.
can you tell me anything that you read recently or that you think is very interesting?
Everything I read was interesting. The Cavan Leitrim Railway was interesting.
Do you think it'd be good if we still had it?
Yeah.
Can you remember any facts about the Cavan Leitrim Railway?
They named the trains after the directors' daughters.
And I didn't know that. I hadn't heard that before.
And it got turned into a museum in 2019.
And have you visited the museum?
No.
So would you like to visit that
Yeah.
museum? And what do you like about history? Do you like studying history?
Yeah.
What other parts of history do you like?
Dinosaurs.
Say that to me again.
Dinosaurs.
So you like prehistory,
Yeah.
dinosaurs, fossils.
Yeah, because I have loads of books on dinosaurs at home.
So what's your favourite dinosaur?
A T-Rex.
Is it?
Yeah.
Mine's Triceratops. Because you could keep Triceratops as a pet. You couldn't keep a T-Rex as a pet.
What could you? Could just eat you, but
Yeah, it could. It'd be very expensive. Lots of goats and cows to keep them fed.
yeah. Would be good to have a T-Rex if you were on a farm.
Why is that?
Because you have all the cows and sheep.
So you just have your food there. Very good. And what do you think when you're older? Do you want to be a historian or a paleontologist, or do you want to do something else? Or
Something else. I want to be a guard.
do you? And is anyone in your family guards at the moment?
No.
No. Very good. And what do you like about in the museum? Apart from the railway, what other parts of the museum do you like?
I like the farming room and the guns.
The guns. Very good. Thanks, Axel. Well done.
In 1968, Phyllis Farris displayed her fine collection of clothing and other artefacts for public viewing in a disused pig house at her home in Cruinniu. Items: her mother and aunt were hoarders and threw nothing away. In Killistranda, she donated much of her collection to the Cavan County Museum in 1996. On display are examples of dress and costume accessories worn by people who lived in relatively comfortable circumstances and could both aspire and afford to dress well. It is their clothing that tends to survive, and many items have lasted because they were treasured, put away and passed down through families. Not everyone had the luxury of clothes that could be put away and remain unused, with the result of that the clothing of the less poor people rarely survives. The exhibition currently houses a selection of outfits ranging from a delicate wedding gown to a military dress uniform, and reflects the finery and delicate craftsmanship of garments worn by the rich people of this period. In the mid-19th century, technology advances such as the invention of the sewing machine in the mid-19th century also helped fashion, enabling both professional and home dressmakers to adapt and copy the latest fashions more easily. Irish lace and crochet were internationally renowned in the late 19th and early 20th centuries. My name is Kerry. I'm in 3rd class and I'm 9 years old.
And what do you like most about the fashion and the costumes?
Well, I like seeing what they used to wear, and I like say the old-fashioned clothes because I like the designs on them, so yeah.
And are you interested in watching old TV programs where they use a lot of these costumes today?
Sometimes I watch them, sometimes I don't.
And what other parts of history do you like?
Well, there's loads of things that I like. The most important thing that I like is just learning about what old people used to wear, or how they did stuff, or how differently it is than to today.
And
then I like learning about basically that.
And do you think you would have liked to live long ago, or are you happy enough to live today?
Well, I don't know, but it'd be cool if I could go back and forth, because I want to see what they did and what everything looked like, but I also like to no.
Yeah, they didn't have Wi-Fi then.
No, or they didn't have more inventions.
Yeah, exactly.
I like to go back and forth.
And what other area of history do you like?
I don't really know, but I just I don't have certain parts that I like. I just in school we learn different parts that we learn in history. In history we learn about I don't know, but we learn about way different than what I learn in class.
Okay, and so you basically like learning how people lived in different times and how different life was at different times.
Yeah.
And why do you think that interests you?
Because I want to see if it was really different, and I want to see if they lived a happy life, or if they lived an okay life or a bad life. And it just interests me because there's so much stuff about it, and I just like to know all of it.
And when you grow up, do you think now, do you want to be a historian or do you want to be a fashion designer, or is there something completely different? Do you know?
Well, I want to be a fashion designer, and but like my mom and me always like, when we're in the clothes shop, we always like looking at the 80s clothes and stuff like that. And then we both love the 80s music, if someone like, since I want to be a fashion designer, I could try and design clothes like this.
So you can make costumes for TV and films.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Well done.
So my favourite part of history is prehistory. And prehistory was a very long time period, beginning around 3 million years ago. We call it prehistory because during this time period, people did not record their lives by writing it down. So there is no written record. Archaeologists investigate how people lived during this period by studying the evidence they left behind. And this prehistory is broken up between 3 sections: the Stone Age, which began 10,000 years ago, and the Bronze Age that began 4,500 years ago, and the Iron Age that began 2,500 years ago. In the Stone Age, there was lots of evidence of people living in Ireland during the Stone Age. They were living a hunter-gatherer lifestyle. They lived in round huts, moving between different camps depending on the seasons and where they could get food. In the Bronze Age, a new group of people arrived in Ireland, the Beakers, people named after their pottery, who brought with them the knowledge of metalwork. The Iron Age was across Europe the technology of ironworking. It was introduced along with Celtic art styles used to decorate objects. Iron replaced bronze for making tools and weapons. Kingdoms were important during the Iron Age, with a number of very large royal sites in Ireland. Example, Navan Fort. This period is sometimes referred to as the Age of the Celts. My name's Taylor and I'm in 6th class and I'm 12 years old.
And what do you like most about history?
I like finding out new things about it, and I just find it very intriguing, the artifacts and the different types of things.
And if you had to choose one period of prehistory, just one, what would be your favourite and why?
I like all of them equally, I feel like. But if I had to pick a favourite, that's hard. Maybe the Stone Age. I feel like that one's maybe my favourite.
And what are your favourite things you learned about the Stone Age?
Well, I like the way we found out how bronze is made in that like stage, and like all the kind of rocks that we found out about.
Excuse me for a cough. Oh, excuse me. What other parts of history do you like?
I like the Tudor period.
And what's your favourite Tudor king or queen?
Well, I'm very interested in Henry the my brain stopped working. The 8th, and all his 6 wives.
I know. Are his wives more interesting, or is Henry more interesting?
His wives.
Who's your favourite wife?
Anne Boleyn.
She was executed.
Yeah.
Do you think she was wronged?
Yeah.
And apart from then Tudor era, is there any other thing in the museum that you like looking at apart from the prehistory?
I like the World War stuff. I find it interesting with the guns, the bombs, and other sorts of things.
What do you think it would have been like to live back then?
Hard. Like with probably going into hiding a lot.
Do you think you'd like to visit history if you could? If you if you could get a flight, you go back to history.
I feel like I would.
What time would you go back to?
Maybe the Black Plague. I find it interesting with the masks and stuff. But then again, the sickness, I don't know.
It might be a bit dangerous.
Yeah, but I like the doctors' outfits and stuff. That was cool.
Very good. And when you're older, do you think you want to be a historian, or do you want to work in museums, or do you think you want to do something else?
I I'm between two. I might want to be a historian or I want to be a criminologist. Yes.
Oh. What interests you about criminology?
I've read a lot of books on it and I like documentaries about it and I feel like I could solve a crime.
Brilliant. Thanks, Mrs. Thanks, Taylor.
By the mid-1700s, dueling was a common way for Irish gentry and nobility to defend their honour, often using custom-made pistols as a status symbol. Though technically illegal, dueling continued into the mid-1800s. A notable 1748 duel in Mayo between Robert Miller and John Brown ended in Miller's death and led to Brown convicted for manslaughter. The tragedy led to the introduction of the Code Duello in 1777, a set of 25 rules for dueling, which participants had to keep in their pistol cases. Women also dueled, including against men, and duels were used to settle both personal and political disputes. Daniel O'Connell, known for preferring words over violence, reluctantly participated in a duel in 1815 with John Norcott d'Estera and won. However, after returning to his Catholic faith in 1816, he vowed never to duel again. His refusal to duel in later years angered the British, but he stood firm, calling dueling a practice inconsistent with common sense and a violation of the divine law. The Highgose collection that was recently added to the museum attractions was donated to the people of Cavan following Hugh's death in November 2009. A lifetime's dedicated effort that Hugh began quite by accident. The collection made up of almost 170 different historical items, mainly ancient pistols, swords, and scabbards, daggers, and military paraphernalia from across the world. Included are stone and bronze axe heads, most of which Hugh himself found on his travels, as well as a much prized penal cross, though to be one of the finest examples still in existence. My name is Robert Novak. I am 12 years old and I am in 5th class.
So tell us a bit more about your like for the guns and history and historical guns. Why do you find it so interesting?
I just found it interesting how there's different types and like weird looking ones as well, like sabers and katanas for an example.
And do they have different uses? Is that why they're different shapes?
Yes, some have different uses, like for slicing or blocking stuff.
So they wouldn't all be used in war?
Yes, they probably would be used in war.
Would you use them for other things? What about hunting?
There was a lot of like bows made for hunting.
And what other parts of history do you like?
The Romans.
The Romans. What do you like about, or what can you remember? What do you like about them? Any really?
The gladiators. The gladiators and how they had like so much different festivals about like gods.
And do you think you'd like to have been a gladiator?
Oh no.
Why not?
I don't want to get stabbed.
Well, they were slaves, weren't they? They weren't always free men. Do you think it would have been good to watch a gladiator show?
Probably.
If you had a history or a time machine, what time would you visit?
Probably like mid-Romans. Ish.
Is there any Roman emperor that you think not really?
No.
So you're really into the gladiators.
Yeah.
So is there any other part of history then as well that you've done in school that you find interesting?
No, not really.
And what about the museum? Is there anything
A lot.
else? So what's another part of the museum you
Guns.
Apart from guns, what other do you do?
The swords.
And why do you like the swords?
They're just cool.
And is there any other room, like the World War I room, or the trenches, or the farm?
Probably the trenches. They're the coolest.
Yeah. And so you like going around the trenches as well. And when you get older, do you think you'd like to study history, or would you like to do something else?
Something else, probably, for a job.
What do you think you'd like to do?
Programming.
So you're really into computers, are you? Do you think you could do like be a programmer or make up like a new Grand Theft Auto or a new computer game?
Maybe.
And then you could use your research in guns as well.
If any one weapon can be really associated with World War One and the War of Independence, then that weapon is Lee Enfield rifle. The rifle is so well known that it has many unofficial names, the most common being the 303. It was a standard issue rifle in the Irish Defence Forces from 1922 to 1962, and with an FCA until 1985. It is estimated that over 17 million were produced, and is the longest serving military bolt-action rifle ever produced. The Enfield is a bolt-action magazine-fed repeating rifle. The design of the Enfield derived from the Lee Metford rifle. With the introduction of smokeless powder, it was found that the Metford designed rifling was unsuitable for the higher powered cartridge. A new rifling system developed at the Royal Small Arms Factory in Enfield was adopted. The new rifle used Lee's bolt action with the Enfield rifling, hence the name Lee Enfield. Lee was also the inventor of the detachable box magazine, now used in almost every military rifle. The fast operating Lee bolts action and large magazine capacity enabled a trained rifleman to fire between 20 to 30 aimed rounds a minute, making the Lee Enfield the fastest military bolt-action rifle of the day. I'm Ethan Whitley in 5th class and I'm 11.
And what do you like about history the most?
Just interesting to learn, and my brother got me into it.
And what part of history do you like the best?
Anything, well, around World War One and Two, and like the War of Independence and the Easter Rising.
And did you learn any stories about what happened locally during that time?
Well, not that I can name off the top of my head.
No, that's all right. So tell me a little bit about, say, World War One. What do you find? Can you remember any interesting things, interesting facts you remember?
Just how it started with the Serbian fellow shooting, what was his name again? Forgot.
Franz Ferdinand.
Franz Ferdinand. And so, the assassination, really.
And do you think it's a bit strange that Britain and Germany got involved when it was two different countries started it?
Well, it's the Allied power.
Exactly, it's the Allies. And so what other parts of history do you like?
World War Two.
And what do you find interesting about World War Two?
Yes, similar to World War One, how it all started, how it ended, everything that happened in between.
And is there any particular battles that you have read about?
The Battle of Normandy.
Yeah, okay. Can you remember anything about that?
The Americans and the British went over to France just to take it back over the Germans.
And were they successful?
Yep. Well.
Yeah, but they lost a lot of men, didn't they?
So it's kind of a sacrifice.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. And so what else do you like learning about in school? Are there any other subjects you like?
Not really.
Just history. And if you're visiting the museum, what's your favourite parts of the museum?
Having a look at all the weapons.
Is there any other one you like apart from the Lee Enfield?
Any revolvers, really.
Very good. And when you get older, what do you think you want to do? Do you want to be a historian or do you want to do something completely different?
Possibly a historian, maybe.
You have to be learn military history. Thank you very much, Ethan.
All right.
And recalling is easier than memorising or trying to recite. So when we tour guide, we recall. We don't memorise or recite. Because when you recall, you're seeing too. Yours is not technical, but you trainer, but you've got a lot to remember. Because you did well because you got the Stone Age, Bronze Age, Iron Age. And so you can say that started 4,500 BC. We'll figure out how many classes are coming up and how many kids. We could do a class at a time anyway.
Would you like them last?
Would you prefer them last? Yeah,